go. I'm ready to start. Counting 2, 3, 1. There I am, Tony Datino, and the founder of the USA Memory Championship. And November 14th is coming up real fast. We have our first ever virtual memory event coming up this Saturday from 1 to 5. And people will be able to access it through Facebook, and we're getting some Zoom information out, and our competitors are signing off on their releases from Lumosity. And we had a dry run yesterday. We'll do another dry run on Friday. We have some great speakers, and it's just turning out to be a fantastic event, at least at the planning stage right now. And been on the computer all day, getting emails back and forth with some of the questions and points that our competitors are asking. And so it's been a busy day. I've got a couple of calls I need to make this evening to keep the ball rolling. So I flopped my 7 p.m. Live with Tony to 5:45, so I can make sure I get it in, because I'm not sure after dinner what my evening is going to be like based on some of the calls and the logistics that I need to be working on this evening. So there's a quick background, but it's exciting and wonderful. And tonight's Live with Tony, I'm going to just keep hitting this because it keeps showing up over and over and over again, and that is the impact of loneliness. And my goodness, what's coming out over and over again in every... I don't think I can pick up a magazine or a science paper of any sort and not see the impacts of what has happened with the lockdowns we've had on COVID. And when I mean lockdowns, to where people feel that they are locked in a room, in a cell, they call them bigger jail cells, okay? I never thought of a house as a bigger jail cell. But people are just finding themselves isolated and lonely, and the research just keeps coming out. If you look at that picture, okay, first problem, kids. We're seeing an increase in kids with agoraphobia. They don't want to go out, even when their parents are trying to get them to go out to school or try to get them to go out and play. Kids it's been drummed into their heads that you can't go out, it's dangerous, it's not safe, mom, dad, whomever can get sick. And kids are accepting that more and more now. But now you got to do a flip, and you got to ask them to go out. And what do they want to do? Well, it's not safe to go out. I want to stay in. So parents are beginning to see an increasing level of kids with agoraphobia. Well, what about seniors? We're talking with different seniors that are part of our social network, obviously. Some of them have managed to, we'll call it, break out of jail and at least go to some of the vacation centers that hit on the Gulf of Mexico, or maybe off of the Gulf the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. I'm thinking of the Gulf of Atlantic Ocean. And so we have people that are at least getting out for a few days, going into these resorts that are usually pretty empty, and they're at least going out into the world of where they aren't locked into their townhouse or apartment or their house cell. And what's happening there is the level of stress that we start with when you first hear about COVID, and you start then thinking of the things you got to adapt and adjust to. We start then withdrawing, and we just start closing down because we obviously fear the life or death that at least we hear about so often. And then, of course, we watch daily numbers, and there's where you get too much information, where you just obsess and you look at these numbers and then try to extrapolate what they mean to your own personal life. And we go into a lockdown. What do we do about all of this? And you look at seniors that are in these assisted living centers, and boy, that pendulum has gone back and forth and finger pointing over such a significant percentage of seniors that have died in COVID. The stories are endless. There's not a shortage of stories. I'm reading the current issue of Business Week, and they talk about assisted living centers and nursing homes and people, workers that died because of how poorly things were handled. Were they handled even at all properly and at the early stages of this? And so now you have a level of fear and uncertainty feeding a level of stress that then feeds our anxiety. And our brain gets emotionally toxic after a while. Now we build the toxin inside of us that just begins to poison our whole immune system, which is compounded by the minimization of electric surgeries or doctor visits. Talking to my own internist, recommending I not do a couple of things that were my regular routine on an annual basis, but they're elective, and he's suggesting with the increase we stop. Don't go do them. So now I read this, and I go, oh my goodness, I've been trying to get ahead of this with my Live with Tony broadcast. I've been trying to share with people, how do you take control? How do you build some level of social interaction so that you're not left to be of whatever fate will happen and cause to happen to your well-being and your health? So what are some of the things you can do to keep your mind focused and learning some new things, or at least trying to bring your focus and mindfulness to a whole different level of where you can be in control? And that's why I'm really excited about Saturday's virtual memory competition. We've got several hundred people that have registered to compete. They've gone through the drill of getting their applications in and then signing the regular waiver they needed to have with the Lumosity website. We have sent out reminders to people over the last several days that were interested, and letting them know that tonight at 8 p.m. is the cutoff, which is why I'm keeping my evening open, because things will happen. But we have that. We did a dry run yesterday of what the broadcasting is going to look like over Zoom and whether we do webinar. And I'm trying to put together a program with a panel of some fantastic medical people and some academics as well as clinicians that have practiced. We have a fabulous panel of people that are going to talk about this. And so the whole purpose of this is offering people a broadcast on Saturday afternoon that they can watch and learn some things about their own mental health, about things they may be able to learn to improve their own mental functions, which all help to minimize some of the impacts they're getting from isolation and loneliness, and letting people know that there's hope for all of us. There's something we can all do to reach out to others in the community, others in the world, using Facebooks and YouTubes and what have you, and learn something at the same time. So a lot of work has gone into putting an agenda together, a couple of events for the competition, friendly events that will come out and people can watch and enjoy. We've got our tea party guests all lined up. We've got our videos for them to demonstrate. We're trying to debate now how long should you show the video and should you show it in repetition. We've got our words to remember all set, ready to go. And now we're going to do a dry run on Friday. But what is this all about? It's all about getting to recognize that the people that are in these stages of isolation and stages of what we call loneliness, there are things that we can do that allow us to take control back over our own being. And we don't have to succumb to the fear and the phobia of going from stress to anxiety to depression to overdosing to all the terrible things that we don't have to be, because we have this infinite capacity to think. And what we're trying to do now is control the lever of whether we want to think in the positive things of things we can be able to do versus do we want to think of the negative things and just feel like the world is on top of our shoulders. And I read this every day. I'm reading it every day. Loneliness and the impact by age and people at work and people that work in hospitals and the mental hits that this is taking on people. And it makes me sad and it makes me angry. And it makes me sad because it doesn't have to be that way. It makes me angry because, my God, there are things we can all do that can make a difference. And we are all in this together. And to think that any one individual or any one country has got the magic pill and the pixie dust that's going to get this resolved is so naive. It drives me crazy. We've got people and companies working on the vaccines and trying to do the best. And we're trying to all look at this and say, my goodness, and we hear somebody say, God, the worst is yet to come. And we hear that on television and news report and say, the worst is yet to come. My God, do you want to paint the picture any darker? And so what we're offering through the USA Memory Championship is an opportunity for people to tune in on Saturday and just see maybe a different part of the world of a group of excited people who are going to play some Lumosity games since they're our sponsor. It's going to be hosted by MIT with some fantastic speakers. And for anybody who's listening to my Live with Tony this evening, you start lining up as many of your friends and people and relatives you can. Get them onto this Facebook broadcasting that we're going to be doing. And stay in tune with the USA Memory Championship website. And it will be an afternoon that I can promise you is going to be worth their time. This is Wednesday. I've got another crazy day tomorrow. I will get back on here sometime tomorrow. I probably will not be doing my Saturday broadcast this week because that is 1 to 5:30 is going to be our event, so you get to see me there. And we'll pick it up next week. But you will see me tomorrow. That will probably be my last broadcast for this week. So have a good evening, and pass these messages along to some of your friends, family members, loved ones. And let's see if we can get everybody focused on what they can do to improve their mental health. And you can always check the Maximum Memory Mastery online website and see if that gives you a level of hope. Go to the USA Memory Championship website and look at some of the videos of the things that we've been posting up there. And we're going to have a tea party video posted out there so people can get a flavor of what that event is going to be like. So have a good evening, and the ball's moving, and we're making some good things happen. So that is the exciting part of things, of what can be done during some very difficult times. And we all need to be safe, smart, and get through it. Have a good evening.